Live fish foods are great. They speed fish growth and condition fish for spawning. But you need to take care of live food cultures. They need to be fed, and sometimes they need water changes. And that's time I'd rather spend on maintaining the fish. I've developed a homemade omnivore gel freshwater fish food. I've been feeding it for years. I think it's the next best thing to live foods. In my opinion, it speeds the growth of young fish and gets older fish ready for spawning. I use it to supplement commercial prepared fish foods. In this video, I'll show you my basic recipe for homemade fish food. I make it from fresh and dried ingredients you can find in grocery stores. My name is Bob, and this is Sonny's Fish Room. First, you'll need a binding agent. The binder holds the ingredients together so they dissolve slowly and don't pollute the water before the fish can eat the food. For my homemade fish food, I use gelatin to hold the ingredients together. Gelatin is collagen, a protein extracted by boiling animal hides and joints. It comes in powder form. I add 3 packs of Knox gelatin to 1 cup of water. I soak it for an hour or two to hydrate it, then heat it in the microwave for a minute or two to get it to dissolve. Be careful not to overheat it so it doesn't boil over and make a mess. After you heat it, set it aside until it's lukewarm, about 70 to 90 degrees F. Now for the main ingredients. Fish need proteins, and they need lipids, also called fats, and they need vitamins and minerals. That's according to Nutrition and Feeding of Bait Fish by Rebecca Lockman and Harold Phillips of the Aquaculture and Fisheries Center at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. One vitamin that fish can't live without is vitamin C. Like people, fish can't make their own vitamin C like other animals can. So I start my fish food mix with a green pepper. Green peppers are high in vitamin C. Citrus fruits are also high in vitamin C, but I don't use those because they're acidic and can keep the binding agent, gelatin, from solidifying. Cut the flesh away from the seeds. Throw the seeds away and cut the flesh into small pieces. Then add the pieces to your food processor and grind them up. Next, there's the protein. I start with a can of unsalted tuna fish. In the wild, freshwater fish don't have a lot of sodium in their diets. I use tuna fish packed in water, not oil, and I drain the water off. A can of no-salt salmon would work too. In the wild, fish eat other fish. Tuna fish is high in protein and mimics their natural diet. It's not too expensive and contains fats that fish also need. Tuna is high in fats called omega-3 fatty acids, which all fish need to thrive and grow. I use skipjack, yellowfin, or any other dark tuna fish. You can also add some fresh garlic. There are studies suggesting that garlic kills some kinds of internal parasites. Fish seem to love it, and I don't think it hurts to add it occasionally. Peel it, smash it, chop it up, and add it to the blender with the tuna fish and green pepper. Next, assemble the dry ingredients. Wild fish eat lots of insects and small crustaceans, so I add dried shrimp to the mix. I get mine at a neighborhood Korean grocery store. The shells contain carotenoids, vitamin A-like antioxidant compounds that can enhance certain colors in certain fish. I usually just guesstimate how much to use, but since this is a recipe video, I poured out 3/4 of a cup. Grind the shrimp a small amount at a time in a coffee grinder. At this point, I add the vitamins. I use a grocery store multivitamin and mineral supplement. Vitamin C dissolves in water, so to make sure the fish get enough vitamin C, I add a vitamin C tablet. Grind the shrimp and the vitamins together and set the batch aside. Next, I like to add paprika, which some people pronounce paprika. It's also called pimentone. Paprika contains lots of carotenoids. I add 2 or 3 tablespoons to the dry ingredients. You could also add 2 or 3 tablespoons of dried ground chili peppers. They provide more carotenoids. They can be mild chilies or hot, spicy chilies. I don't think the fish have receptors to feel the heat of hot chilies like people do. You can remove the seeds and grind your own chilies, or you can add pre-ground chilies. But don't use American-style chili powder. It has other kinds of spices that might not be good for the fish. Finally, we need to mix all the ingredients together. In the food processor, you should already have mixed all the wet ingredients: the gelatin, the green pepper, garlic, and dark tuna fish. Add the dry ingredients: the ground shrimp and vitamins, the paprika, and the ground chilies. Mix thoroughly and stop and scrape any unmixed ingredients off the sides if you need to. If the mixture is too soupy, add some more paprika to soak up the excess liquid. Pour it into a sheet pan or other flat mold. I line the sheet pan with parchment paper so it doesn't stick. Use a spatula to spread it as evenly as you can. Put it in the refrigerator so it cools and the gelatin sets. To store it long term, you'll need to freeze it. You can cut it into pieces so you can use a small amount at a time. You need to keep the pieces from freezing together so you can feed a small amount without having to thaw the whole batch. One way is to roll it in the parchment paper and cut it in slices. Paper will get wet though, and it tears easily, so an alternative is to cut the batch into squares and arrange them in a plastic bag so they aren't touching each other. Another idea that I haven't tried is to freeze the mix in ice cube trays. Between feedings, you can keep small quantities of food in the refrigerator. This mix is pretty dense, so you won't need to feed a lot. Feed as much as you think they'll eat in 15 to 20 minutes. Because all the ingredients are wet, you won't need to worry about the food taking on water and expanding in the fish's stomach like you do with dry foods. If you liked this video, here's another one the YouTube algorithm thinks you might also like. For more videos on fish or fish keeping and occasional nature videos, please subscribe to this channel. It would also help me out if you could click the thumbs up button and share this video with someone you think might like it. Thanks for watching.